We ready? Good afternoon. I'd like to call the Finance, Ways and Means Committee to order for April 17th, 2024. Mr. Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Representatives Barrett, Boyd, Camper, Cochran, Crawford, Faison, Freeman, Gant, Garrett, Hawk, Hicks of Hawkins, Hicks of Washington, Kiesling, Lambert, Love, Lynn, McKenzie, Miller, Moon, Parkinson, Shaw, Sparks, Whitson, Williams, Zachary, Vice Chairman Baum, Chair Lady Hazelwood. Madam Chair, you have a quorum.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Before we get started, we'll do personal orders and announcements, but I have a personal order of my own to start with. And I just think that we need to recognize Chairman Gary Hicks, who has just taken us through an incredible Chairman Hicks, you're recognized.
Yeah, Chair Lady, the budget's done, and so all these people standing up, it's too late. Should have done that yesterday. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you all.
Seriously, it was a very long finance sub meeting, and you handled it marvelously and got us through. So we do appreciate it. Chairman Zachary, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Members, we've had a change in schedule, so calendar and rules will meet immediately following finance. That changed just a few minutes ago. So if you have a bill that is coming out of finance today, it'll be in calendar and rules immediately following this meeting. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Chairman. Any other personal orders or announcements? Seeing none. Excuse me. We first will take up our regular calendar. There are 10 bills on that calendar, and then we'll go through the calendars in the same sequence that Chairman Hicks went through those in subcommittee. So I hope that everyone hung on to their calendars from sub, so you'll be able to follow along. First on our regular calendar is item number 1, constitutional amendment calendar HJR 859 by Representative Capley. Second. Representative Capley, you have a motion and a second. You are recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair and Committee. HJR 859 will keep violent criminals behind bars and off our streets. That's the simple goal.
Question has been called. Without objection, we are voting on constitutional amendment HJR 859. Moving on to calendar and rules. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. HJR 859 goes to calendar and rules.
Thank you, Madam Chair and
Thank
Committee.
you, Representative Capley. Next item on our calendar is House Bill 2358 by Chairman Carringer.
Motion.
We have a motion and a second. Chairman Carringer, you're recognized on House Bill 2358.
Thank you, Chairman and Committee. So House Bill 2358 was brought to me by Tennessee Oncology. And what they're wanting to do is when they have patients who are taking chemo treatments, and mostly in the rural areas, the medicine gets mixed up for their treatment and gets sent out, and then they go and have lab work and they're not able to take their treatment. So they're having to throw the medicine away. So this was brought by the pharmacy and Board of Pharmacy and Tennessee Oncology, they want to be able to have special cabinets in the physician's offices that are locked to be able to store the medicine so that they don't have to throw it away, so that maybe the next week that patient might can use it, or someone else that uses that type.
Thank you for that explanation. Do we have questions? Leader Lambert.
Move Brewer's question.
Previous question has been called. Seeing no objection, we are voting on House Bill 2358. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. House Bill 2358 goes to calendar and rules. Item number 3 on our calendar, also by Chairman Carringer, is House Bill 2607. We have a motion. We have a motion and a second. Chairman Carringer, you're recognized.
Thank you, Chairman. House Bill 2607, the ABC brought this, the association, TABC Association brought this bill because right now, current law regulates the sale and distribution of hemp-based products. And the ABC has asked that the legislatures clarify in Title 57 that retail package stores require licenses so that they are authorized to sell hemp-based products, so that they can go in and make sure that it's been sold legally and they have a license.
You've heard the explanation. Questions of the sponsors? Seeing none, we're voting on House Bill 2607. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. House Bill 2607 goes to calendar and rules.
Thank you, Chairman and Committee.
Thank you. Item number 4 on our calendar is House Bill 1937 by Chairman Holtzclaw. We have a motion and a second. Chairman Holtzclaw, you're recognized.
Thank you, Chair Lady and Committee. HB 1937 is your premier omnibus bill, which allows specific locations to serve alcohol. And with that, I renew my motion.
You've heard the explanation. Are there questions of the sponsor? Seeing none, we're voting. Well, I have a question for the sponsor. Sponsor, is this your last bill?
It has a great potential to be.
Well, with that, I sincerely, it has been an honor to serve with you. We came in at the same time, and I have enjoyed getting to know you, and you've done a yeoman's work for the state and represented your district well. So we thank you for your service.
Thank you.
So as a going away for Chairman Holtzclaw, we are voting on House Bill 1937. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Let your no be recorded with the clerk if you'd like to be so noted. But the ayes do have it, and House Bill 1937 moves on to calendar and rules. Item number 5 is House Bill 869 by Representative Lafferty. That's 869. Representative Lafferty, do I have a motion? I have a motion and a second. You're recognized.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Committee. As amended, this bill will do 3 things. Right now, number 1, current law states all TBR board appointments must come before the Senate. This language clarifies that the Tennessee Board faculty and staff members do not have to come before the Senate for confirmation. Currently, all public higher education local governing boards have faculty and student members, but none of those members are required to come before the legislature. Number 2, some changes. It clarifies the treatment of grades and grade point average for students taking both career, technical, and traditional dual enrollment. When a student takes a traditional dual enrollment course, they must maintain a sufficient grade point average for the class in order to pursue a subsequent dual enrollment course. If they fail to make the grade, then the student is not eligible. However, this amendment will clarify that the GPA requirement does not carry over from traditional dual enrollment eligibility to career and technical dual enrollment. And third, I'll stop.
Thank you, Representative, for that very thorough explanation. Are there questions of the sponsor? The question has been called. Without objection, we are voting on House Bill 869. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? House Bill 869 goes to calendar and rules.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Committee.
Next on our agenda is House Bill 1623. That's going to be carried today by Chairman Williams. Do you have a motion?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Chairman Williams, you're recognized.
Thank you, Chair Lady and members. I'm running this bill on behalf of Representative Hale. If you will, please continue to keep him in your thoughts and prayers as he's still recovering. House Bill 1623 as amended will authorize a county or municipality to hire employees or appoint volunteers to direct vehicles, excluding emergency vehicles, on public highways as long as they follow the same statute as their current employees. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions members may have.
Question has been called. Seeing no objection, we are voting on House Bill 1623. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. House Bill 1623 goes to calendar and rules. Item number 7 on our calendar, House Bill 743 by Representative Mitchell. We have a motion and a second. Representative Mitchell, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, this is a bill that would allow liquor stores in the General Services District of Davidson County. When Davidson County became a metro government, the old footprint of the city limits became the Urban Services District. After the metro, only the Urban Services District were liquor stores allowed. Over the years, there's been annexation by dragging more people into the Urban Services District to raise their property tax to be able to allow liquor stores in different part of the county.
The question has been called.
I know when to shut up.
Okay. Representative Mitchell, you do take the prize for the longest time to get this bill done, as we tried to pass this twice last year and you were AWOL. So we congratulate you on being present today for this vote. Without objection, we are voting on House Bill 743. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. If you'd like to be recorded as a no, please let the clerk know that.
Thank you, Madam Chair Lady.
Item number 8 on our calendar is House Bill 2787 by Representative Barrett. We have a motion and a second. Representative Barrett, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This bill changes the building code, or is a permissive change to the building code for municipalities to be able to deal with the fire code as it relates to 3 and 4 unit affordable housing. With that, I'll stand ready to ask any questions. Answer any questions.
Are the questions of the sponsor? Seeing none, we are voting on House Bill 2787. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Like to be recorded as a no, then please let the clerk know, but the ayes do have it, and House Bill 2787 moves on to calendar and rules. Item number 9 on our calendar is next. That's House Bill 2328 by Representative Freeman. We have a motion and a second. Representative Freeman, you're recognized at your desk.
Thank you, Madam Chair and Committee. This is a Title 63 cleanup. It adds licensed professional counselors, marriage and family therapists, and clinical pastoral therapists to the definition of medical practitioners. And I stand ready to answer any questions.
Questions for the sponsors? Seeing none. We're voting on House Bill 2328. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. House Bill 2328 goes to calendar and rules.
Okay, members, item number 10 on our calendar is House Bill 1723 by Chair Lady Hazelwood. We do have a motion and a second. I think there's a couple of amendments on this bill. The first one is Amendment 017745. We have a motion and a second on the amendment. Chair Lady, question's been called on the amendment. Let's put the amendment on the bill.
Please.
All in favor, say aye. Opposed? The amendment goes on the bill. There's a second amendment. This is Amendment 018358. We have a motion and a second. All in favor of putting the amendment on the bill, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Chair Lady Hazelwood, you're recognized on your bill. Question's been called.
Thank you.
Absent objection, we are voting on the bill. We are voting on House Bill 1723. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Moves to calendar and rules.
That completes our regular calendar for today. Next, we will take up the calendar that was the regular subcommittee calendar. And the first item on that is House Bill 2002 by Chairman Farmer. I have a motion and a second. Chairman Farmer, you're recognized.
Thank you, Chair Lady. Do I need to adopt the amendment that we put on in sub?
We do. We need to adopt amendment drafting code 018242. We have a motion and a second on the amendment. Without objection, we are voting on the amendment. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. Amendment 018242 is now attached to the bill. We are now back on the bill as amended. Chairman Farmer.
Thank you, Chair Lady. Members, what this bill does, this bill moves or relocates 2 vacant judgeships in the 30th Judicial District, one to the 19th Judicial District and the other one to the 4th. With that, I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Are there questions of the sponsor? The question has been called without objection. Did you have? Well, question has been called. Without objection, we are voting on House Bill 2002. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? No. If you'd like to be recorded as a no, please let the clerk have your name, but the ayes do have it, and House Bill 2002 goes to calendar and rules.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Members.
Item number 2 on this calendar is House Bill 1930 by Representative Gillespie. We have a motion and a second. Representative Gillespie, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair and Committee. This is my Parental Accountability Act, and what it would do is after your child or the person in your care is found delinquent more than 2 times, then the parent or guardian would be ordered to pay a restitution of $250 for a misdemeanor act or $500 for a felony act, and it would not exceed $1,000. And with that, I welcome any questions.
Representative McKenzie, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. What are these funds going to assist? Are they going to assist some kind of advocacy or some kind of parental engagement or involvement or mentoring kind of program? Or are we just taxing the parents?
I'm sorry, it took a bite at an inappropriate time. Representative Gillespie, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And Representative, it would be a restitution paid to law enforcement. So.
Representative McKenzie.
Thank you. I just fundamentally disagree with that direction of funds. I get I get parental responsibility, absolutely, all day. you know, whether it's a fine or whatever, but just to give it to law enforcement, something that we should be funding or the local municipality. I just don't see the value in that. Are you asking them to hire officers that are kind of trained in how to deal with family situations? How's this tying back to the core root cause of the problem? Because I'm guessing most of the folks that are going to get fined may or may not, if they're bad parent, I guess what you're saying, I don't know whether they're going to pay the fine, the bad parent fee, but if they do, how is it going to assist anyone?
Representative Gillespie.
Thank you so much. So in section 2B of the bill, it states that the guardian who had custody of the child at the time of the act for the expenses incurred by any law enforcement agency in responding to the investigation in the delinquent act. So no, I guess technically that could be for an officer, but it's most likely going to be for that, as exactly it states in the bill.
Representative McKenzie.
Thank you. Final question. You know, I see this, you know, they could perform community service. I like that. That makes sense. The parents out there, because their son or daughter is out doing things wrong. I like that piece. But just to say we're going to fine you up to $1,000 and give the money to law enforcement, may or may not go to a tutor, to a counselor. There's no definition in here. It just does not make sense. Again, it's one of these bills that's aimed at a problem, but it doesn't address the problem, the core of the problem. I just think this bill could have been baked a little better and end up being a bill that really has some teeth. So with that, I can't support the bill. Thank you.
Representative Gillespie.
Thank you so much. And I believe it does go to the core of the problem, because the problem that we're trying to address is absentee parents and absentee guardians. And this is giving them an incentive more than what they already have in order to pay attention to where their child is. And so it does exactly just that, for the reasons why you said you can't support it.
Representative Miller.
Thank you, Madam Chair Lady, and Representative Gillespie. I can appreciate the Parental Accountability Act. You know, it has some substance in it. As I read it, it permits the courts to require the parent, legal guardian, or guardian to perform community services in lieu of mandatory fine if indigent. I can understand that, appreciate that. But I would think that if the individual can't pay the $1,000, chances are they're not employed. And this whole idea of community service, wouldn't it be better if we could possibly assist those individuals in trying to acquire some employment or some job training or something? I mean, when we come up with these ideas, we need to think holistically and comprehensively, you know. And so let's give that some thought as we move forward. To make this really work, to make it really work. We can't halfway do it, in other words. Thank you.
Representative Gillespie.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair. In this budget that we're talking about today, and in budgets from prior years, in addition to community efforts from generous donors, there are, I don't know how many dozens of organizations just in Memphis alone that assist in helping people find employment. There's also multiple government agencies in the city, state, and federal level that already do that. So that is something that already is there.
Representative Parkinson.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair Lady. And Representative, I understand the spirit of what you're trying to do. My concerns are a couple things. One, what happens if they don't pay the fine?
Representative Gillespie.
Thank you so much. Then I would believe that, and we can ask legal this, but I would believe, because this is a court that would be issuing this, that would be some sort of contempt in court. I would need to refer to legal on that.
Representative Parkinson.
Thank you, Madam Chair Lady. Madam Chair Lady, can we honor his request and hear from legal? Objection.
I'm sorry. And this is not a fine. I want to be very clear on that. It is an order of restitution. This is not a fine.
President Gillespie, thank you. Our legal counsel is John. Sorry, I was looking for you down there. Without objection, we're going out of session, and we will hear from our legal counsel, Mr. Hayes.
Joel Hayes, Office of Legal Services. I'm not exactly sure within the context of restitution, but ordinarily if a fine is not paid, it's possible that it can go to collection efforts.
President Parkinson.
Thank you, Madam Chair Lady, for going out of session for us. To legal, two questions. One, are we dealing with a fine, and based on the language of the legislation, are we dealing with a fine, restitution? Which is it that we're dealing with based on the language, and what happens if someone doesn't pay it?
Mr. Hayes.
In the legislation, Representative, it is declared to be a restitution order, must be no less than $250, and then $500 or $1,000, depending on the circumstances in the court order. It does not provide any consequences actually in the legislation if the restitution order is not paid. I mean, that would fall under what the current practices already are under the court's authority.
Without objection, we're back in session. And President Parkinson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Sponsor, in your legislation, you said is it the person that's in physical custody of the child that's responsible for these fines or this restitution?
Representative Gillespie.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair. First of all, I just want to point out in the bill, the word fine is not in there one time. So I just want to make that crystal clear. Secondly, it says in here that the parent, legal custodian, or guardian who had custody of the child at the time of the act for the expenses incurred by any law enforcement agency in responding to and investigating the delinquent act. So I think I don't know how to answer it other than that.
So that would be parents, foster parents who if they have custody of the child, they will be responsible for the restitution based on the language of your bill.
Representative Gillespie.
Thank you so much. I believe, and we're not in committee, that this question was also asked. I believe that there is a policy with DCS or some other department that governs that. And I think in here it does make a mention of that in referencing another section of the code. But it's my understanding that if you're a foster parent or something like that, that this would not apply to you. But we can also ask legal that.
I want to ask legal to go back out, but thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Chair Lady.
All right, I have no further questions on my list. Without objection, we are voting on House Bill 1930. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes do have it. House Bill 1930 moves on to calendar and rules. That brings us to House Bill 2283 by Chairman Haston. We have a motion and a second. Chairman Haston, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This bill requires some needed guidelines for digitizing the school mapping process. With that, I'll be glad to answer any questions.
You've heard the sponsor's explanation. I see no questions, so without objection, we're voting on House Bill 2283. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. House Bill 2283 goes to calendar and rules.
Thank you, Madam Chair and Committee.
The next item on our calendar is House Bill 2553 by Chairman Reedy. Chairman Reedy, you have a motion and a second, and I believe we have an amendment filed on this bill. Drafting code 018002, which rewrites the bill. Is that correct?
That is correct, Madam Chair.
I have a motion and a second on the amendment. Without objection, we are voting on the amendment. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. The amendment is now attached to the bill. Chairman Reedy, please describe your bill as amended.
It is our foreign property ownership bill, and in the amended amendment. It's just stating where the foreign entity or individual would have to file, be it with the Agriculture or Department of Agriculture or Secretary of State's office.
You heard the sponsor's explanation. Are there questions? Seeing none, without objection, we're voting on House Bill 2553. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. 2553 goes to calendar and rules. Thank you, Chairman Reedy. Next up, we have House Bill 1881 by Representative Capley. Representative Capley, you have a motion and a second, and you are recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair and Committee. House Bill 1881 increases from a Class A misdemeanor to a Class E felony and assault against a law enforcement officer.
We have a question that's been called. Leader Lambert, I'm sorry. Would you, Chairman Faison, would you withdraw your question? Leader Lambert.
Madam Chairman, just very briefly, and this bill's been filed for the better part of 10 years. It seems like every single year to respect our law enforcement officers and say, look, if somebody attacks them, it's not just a low-level misdemeanor, it's going to be a felony offense. And I just thank you for bringing it. We all, I think, back the blue and support our law enforcement officers, but this seriously does put it in the law that we're going to support and protect them while they protect us. So thank you for carrying this. Pretty impressive for a freshman. Thank you.
All right. With those kudos, do we have any other questions? Seeing none. We are voting on House Bill 1881. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. House Bill 1881 goes to calendar and rules.
Thank you, Madam Chair and Committee.
Next up is House Bill 351 by Representative Hardaway. I don't see Representative Hardaway. Without objection, we are without objection, House Bill 351 goes to the Hill. The next item is House Bill 1229 by Representative Hemmer. We have a motion and a second. Representative Hemmer, you're recognized.
It says it's on.
It's just you're so far away from it.
I know. Yeah, get down here a little bit. Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the committee. House Bill 1229, the goal is permissive legislation is to increase the attainable housing options for Tennessee's workforce by enabling
The question has been called without objection. We are voting on House Bill 1229, going on the calendar and rules. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. 1229 goes to calendar and rules.
Thank you, members of the committee.
For those of you who have calendars, I'm sorry I haven't mentioned the item number, but we are going in order of those that were passed from budget sub. So we're skipping over some item numbers because they were not passed out of budget sub. With that, we are going to take a brief recess. We will come back at 4:10. So without objection, we are recessed until 4:10. Thank you. Oh, they got to go.